other campaigns are gaining momentum.
Yeah, there's a lot of momentum. Really, it's a good year for.
Okay, we're live. We're live on Facebook.
Hey. Welcome to Viewpoint. Selmapostherald.com.
Yeah. There you go. It's, I'm gonna. Right. Okay.
You can contact us on the Viewpoint line by calling 875-1490. The opinions expressed by our callers and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management and staff of AM 1490 WHPV. And now, here's today's Viewpoint.
And good morning and welcome into the Wednesday morning Viewpoint. For this Wednesday morning, August 20th, 2026, I'm your host, Randy Williams. We're going to hold the calls for a little bit, but you can join us live on Facebook, on the Selma Post Herald Facebook page. Our guest this morning is Councilman Clay Carmichael. Good morning, Brother Carmichael.
Good morning, Randy. Good morning, Selma.
How you doing this morning?
I'm good.
I hear you have an important date in your household today, huh? What is that?
It is Amy Carmichael's 25th birthday.
Wow. She's really young.
She is really young.
Wow.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah. How are your kids doing?
They're good.
And she was in remission, and how did that go with her health?
Yeah, so she's been in remission for 3.5 years now. So, yeah.
How do you end up having so many significant things happen near elections?
This election, I mean, this term has been full of turmoil. From a personal standpoint to a national, standpoint, and natural disasters, and just a lot going on.
Yeah, I thought I remembered. It seemed like the last time when the election hit, something had just happened with you and your wife, right?
So when we were elected in 2020, Zeta came through that night before we were entered office, and then we found out a month later that she had breast cancer.
Right. I thought I remembered something like that.
We got in office. We dealt with that for the first, and UAB was great. I love UAB. I love what they do here with the health, Live Health Smart, and they were great. They've been great to us as a family. I mean, I'm going up there now. I actually have an appointment tomorrow, going up there to get some treatment, and so we're just blessed to have.
We're blessed to have the kind of medical facilities in Selma.
Yes.
Between Vaughn and UAB, and then Montgomery's right down the road, Jackson and Baptist.
Yeah. I mean, UAB is top in the nation. Oh, it's really hard to beat that just an hour and a half drive away.
Yeah.
And then of course they got the medical tower here with the hospital here. That's a huge help.
Oh, no doubt. I'll have to give them credit because I participated in one of their programs a couple of years ago, and that program is really what made me aware of and conscious of my health. And it got to me just in time so I could return the curve and be able to be concentrating on better health practices.
Good. Yeah, I participated in the heart and lung study.
That's the one I was in.
Yeah, that was great.
It was great.
They did scans and
because look at how much that would have cost to have gotten all the scans and the diagnoses that they went through.
Yeah. And me and Amy both did it, and so we quit smoking. We used to smoke cigarettes, and we quit when she was diagnosed with cancer, and so going through that, having smoked for so long,
man, I smoked.
Having our lungs.
I smoked from the time that I was 12 until I was 27. And the best decision I ever made was quit smoking. Mm-hmm. That was years ago, but still, it took me 3 years to stop.
Yeah.
That's worse than a drug addiction is what I'm told. It's hard to get rid of them cigarettes. Yeah. That's a hard habit. Yeah. But that's not why that's
Come on, let's talk about the easy stuff.
You know, I tell you, man, you've had your share of controversy. Let's start from the beginning. I don't want to assume because I guess you probably have a lot of new people that have moved into your ward and things
Yeah,
shifting.
out and in. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's and it's a big ward.
Now your ward stretches from where to where?
It goes from the river to JL Chestnut and from Broad Street to Jones Creek, basically, the easiest way. And then there's a little patch north of JL Chestnut that's considered Mill Village right there.
Right.
And it travels. It actually goes behind Mill Village and behind In Shape Fitness and up to Felix Road.
So you've got Old Town is in your district?
Yeah, Old Town, Ice House, Riverview, what's considered the Mallory Drive area, Rowell Drive, and then Mill Village. Those are kind of the neighborhoods.
Now, what are the polling places for your ward?
Miller Childers, the Christian Outreach Alliance, right there on JL Chestnut.
Oh, what is it? JL Chestnut and
Maybury.
And Maybury.
That's right. Yeah, that's the big one, and then the courthouse.
And then the courthouse
covers everything south of Dallas.
Right.
Over there, so it's a little bit smaller precinct, but it's just good to be in the courthouse and have one in the courthouse there.
Now, I just saw you. Was it yesterday, the day before? Because you're a founding member of the Black Belt.
That's right.
The Black Belt
benefit group,
right?
Yeah, and I try to keep them clear of politics. So.
Right, I understand. But you guys did give $5,000 to rise.
That's right.
And recover.
That's right. Rib off, and didn't do as well as we wanted. So we're actually going to benefit them again for the chili cook-off, and try to double that. Hopefully. No guarantees ever. I mean, you just never know who's going to come out, what else is going on, but the effort is there to constantly trying to help the community.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because for people who are new to the area or new to your ward, they need to know your background and the fact, what you do and if you do anything at all in the community.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. Tell us about your educational background, where you were born, how you grew up, who your people are. In your profession and all that kind of stuff.
So I was born and raised in Selma, in Ward 3, in Old Town. I live 2 blocks from where I grew up now. I moved back down to Old Town when I came back home, and I work at Carmichael'S. It's a family business. I'm 4th generation, and hopefully raising a 5th generation. I'm trying to keep that alive here in Selma. We're a mining company, and we also produce concrete.
You're a mining company?
Yeah, we mine sand and gravel. And we mine material out of the ground, and we produce sand and gravel out of it.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's significant. Now,
that's actually what we started out as before the concrete. The mining company started in 1913, and the concrete company started in 1946.
It's very interesting. I've lived in a lot of different states, and I think Florida probably hit home with me because while I was there, from Hurricane Andrew on, they had to re-examine and reevaluate the building codes and how to be prepared for hurricane force winds. In concrete and those steel rods.
That's right.
Became a critical element.
Yeah. So there's actually a form of building called ICF, interlocking concrete forms, and it's a styrofoam building block like a Lego, and it leaves a 10-inch gap that you fill full of concrete, and you build it up like a wall. And then the styrofoam blocks have plastic strips on them that you can drill your siding into and everything.
Wow.
And it is, it's fireproof, it's floodproof, it's mold and mildew proof. So your insurance rates drop majorly.
Is this a new material?
No, they build out of it at the coast a lot. So it takes, I think, 175 mile-an-hour winds for 72 hours straight.
Wow!
Yeah, so
now that's strong.
It's considered hurricane proof. There's a picture of one of them standing down at Mexico Beach after that hurricane. Everything's wiped out around it, and there's a concrete house standing without anything wrong with it.
Well, I gained a new appreciation for hurricane force winds with Hurricane Andrew I was in North Florida, 50 miles from Tallahassee, but the hurricane Andrew had come in near Miami and had knocked over, they leveled the whole community.
Wow.
And we were still, even in North Florida, I can remember because I had a radio station there, and I was at the station, and the wind was blowing, was howling, 90-mile-an-hour wind.
Wow.
And it was 500 miles away.
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it started out as one of those storms that I said, oh, this ain't going, nobody thought it was going to be anything.
Yeah.
And boom.
Yeah.
You know, so when I see that 600,
half of them are.
well, and see, and the one that's out in the Atlantic now, I'm glad it turned, but it's humongous.
Yeah.
And so I hope we don't
saw
go through.
flooding on the Outer Banks of North Carolina.
Goodness gracious me, you know.
So,
So, all right, so I bring all of that up. So, what made you run the first time for city council, and what was your platform, and were you able to? How much of it were you able to do?
I ran because I kept trying to work with the city over the years and kept running into roadblocks and just doing basic, things that we did in the community and trying to get some things done. And of course there's always some negative talks around in politics. But I decided that, be the change you want to be or be the change you want to see in the world. So I just decided to put myself in that position and say, stop criticizing or complaining and just go do it, and so that's what I did. And my platform has been simple and to the point, just to improve government services, the standard services that we provide as a government, we need to improve. I mean, we're, the infrastructure, public works, public safety, a lot of those things, we're not doing well, in my opinion. And so we need to focus on those things and do them well first. That includes the finances. If in order to do those things well, we've got to be efficient financially, and we've got to be financially sound. We've got to have money in the bank. There's a lot of things that revert back to that.
That's what Mayor Reed was just saying yesterday to his city council, and they had a 6% increase over what they've been spending, but they've got a lot of money that's been coming into Montgomery. But he's stressing fiscal accountability and a balanced budget.
That's right.
That's
important, and because so you can do those things, so I think we've done some of those things with this administration, and some maybe not. So there's still some things we can improve on.
Well, you're coming behind the Melton administration,
that's right? Yeah.
And boy, things went to pots to wherever, to Hades under his administration, but the city lost its credit rating.
That's right.
You had the scandal with the police chief. Did the mayor? Did Melton have the appointment powers at that time? The police chief.
At the time, but they took the appointment powers
probably after that
when that happened. Yeah.
Okay. So now, what do you have left that you didn't get accomplished when you first ran, and where are you now? What are you hoping to do if elected this time?
Well, city council, a lot of people run on all these things that a council person can do. A council person can't do much.
Right.
We can stick to what we prioritize financially, basically, but we follow the leadership of the mayor. That's very important for people to understand. Like, the mayor runs day-to-day operations. He does everything on a day-to-day basis, management from top down. And so if he says that we're going to do something, we support it, or we don't support it, and we may say, well, we'd rather do this instead financially, or we can't do this financially, things along those lines. And you've got 9 other people that also have opinions.
Right.
So we've got to, you've got to work out with those 9 other people, what part of this plan are we going to get behind?
Now, in your votes, now the perception has been that it's always one 5-4 vote, and that it's always the same 5 that vote in favor of whatever Mayor Perkins or for or whatever he proposes. Is that accurate?
I think there are. It's actually 4 that vote in favor of most of what Mayor Perkins brings forward, and then there's 5 others who question some things.
But there've been times when those 4 haven't always.
That's right.
gone
Yeah,
that way.
there are times. I mean, it's not always that way. I mean, it's made out to be always that way, but I mean, that's
why
the
I said
dividing line.
perception. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
the narrative that's pushed by some people.
It is, and I mean, it's not like it's completely false, but there's some people that will vote with the mayor no matter what, and then there's some that will read and question it, and there's some, I may find something that I don't agree with that somebody else doesn't, and it's, you can't say that anybody's doing something for any specific reason if you don't know why.
Right.
And so I'm not going to sit here and say that President Young is doing something for some personal reason or some relationship he has with somebody,
right.
or something like that. It's his responsibility to read and vote the way he feels necessary based on the information that he gets. And I have that same responsibility.
Now, you've been taking the training with the League of Municipalities.
Yes. Yeah.
What has that done in terms of from before you took the training as a council person, and now that you've gone through, what are your thoughts on before and after?
Oh, it's eye opening. I mean, what I knew before I was elected is nothing compared to what I know now. I mean, it is eye opening. There's an entitled title in which is multiple chapters in the Code of Alabama. I mean, it's thousands of pages,
right.
Of laws that we have to follow as a municipality, as governing officials that we have to follow. These aren't laws for people. These are laws for us on how we govern. And what the League of Municipalities does is, just like in school, they break those chapters down into layman's terms, so to speak, and they teach you how to use it effectively to do your job the right way, the legal way, and it's very important.
I was about to ask, is that important in terms of how important is it to be able to run a local government efficiently? And I use the term efficiently because sometimes it seems like some of our elected officials don't understand that word.
Yeah. So first it should be legal, and that's mostly what the league covers. They also have some classes on economic development that I took. And they also have connections that you make at the conferences with other cities, so you can pick up the phone and say, "How do y'all do this?" Those are things that come in when it comes to efficiency,
like best practices.
Best practices, standards
for a city this size and that kind of.
That's
thing.
right. Yeah. So we have to work as a council and as a mayor. You have to worry about the legal side of things first and foremost. I mean, that's like, are we doing this the right way? And then I think once you know the right way, it may take a year or two to get everything in and have kind of an understanding of the right way to do things. So you're not breaking the law, and really, I mean, the purpose is so you're treating the tax revenues fairly and justly.
Because you're a steward of the money.
That's right. In a way that so the citizens are getting what they deserve from their taxes. And so you have to follow the laws in order to do that. And when it comes to efficiencies, I think a lot of that is, within the services that we offer. there can be efficiencies through supervision and how things are organized, how the government is organized. And technology can add to efficiencies. And I would say, looking at Selma and looking at other cities, Selma's antiquated. It's old. It's not. We aren't running it like we've heard the past two elections. Bring it into the 21st century. Bring it into the 21st century. We've yet to do that. So
Wow.
that it is a little disturbing and frustrating sometimes to sit and look at things. And knowing how I run a business, we're constantly updating technology. I was working on technology today on work orders for mechanics and bagging guys and drivers and stuff like that you do on your phone. I've been asking the city to do this for 4 years, and we haven't gotten it yet. And
Well, look, I remember several years ago, before Roosevelt Goldsby retired, and I was coming in to consult on really with the water department in the debt, and what I was surprised to find was that they were still using handwritten bills. They hadn't digitized yet. Now I don't know if that's changed, and I think it's changed since then, but that's a lot to think about.
it is. It's a lot. It's really it goes really in depth.
Yeah.
And the things. I mean, GPS camera systems on your trucks.
Right.
Things like that.
On your phone.
Yeah. That no business goes without now for insurance purposes. So you can prove liability. So what your drivers are doing when they're out and about. Not saying anybody's doing this, but they may be sitting under a shade tree taking a nap. If that truck sits for more than 20 minutes, you get an alert, and it says, "Hey, your truck's been sitting for 30 minutes. All right, let me look at my GPS, see what he's doing, where he's been." These are efficiencies.
May have fainted in his heat.
He may have, something may have happened. He may have run into a tree or something. Anything could happen, and so updating everything with that technology, that's important, and we need to be budgeting for that. Those are the things we need to put into the budget. What is this going to cost? What type of reports are we going to get from that? As a council, we need to know what type of schedules we're running, so we can share that with the people in our
in other
board.
words, you need to be organized. Is what it sounds like.
Yes, we need a lot of organization.
And you're also you were voted by your peers as the pro tem.
That's right. Yes. Sir.
Are you still pro tem?
Yes.
Okay.
President pro tem, and I just covering bases when the president can't be there in meetings, or a lot of that is if there's something, a legal issue, or if there's anything that can be brought up in a council meeting. President Young tries to include me in. Because if for some reason he can't make it, I've got to be ready I've got to be ready and know what's going on. Right. So, a lot of people point and say, "Well, why does Clay get included in everything? Why does Clay?" Well, I need to be because if he can't make it, I need to be able to step in at some point.
Wow.
If something happens to him and he goes to the he gets in a bad wreck or something, God forbid, and ends up in the hospital for
a day or two.
Yeah, or a month. Or can't come in. Yeah.
Right.
So I need to be able to do that, handle that position, and I need to know what's been going on for the time before that.
So you don't have to play catch up. You already know what's going on.
That's right. I mean, that's the easiest thing, and that's really, I think that's the way the mayor should treat the president position, because essentially, if something happens to the mayor, the president is supposed to step in.
Right.
So I think that is also, like President Young includes me, I would think the mayor should include President Young. And just that way you keep on the same page with everything.
Right.
And it's a seamless process.
It's a smooth, huh?
Yeah.
Let's take this break. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Our guest this morning, Councilman Clay Carmichael, and he's running for re-election for Ward 3. And we will be back with more, not with Chris Plant. Chris Plant's always dominating. Huh? We'll be back with more right after these messages. Okay, we got 30 minutes, so let's make sure that you cover everything you need to cover.
Okay.
You know,
Well, I can't cover everything.
the most important stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, let me see.
And the reconstruction comes a much larger facility designed for increased capacity. George's deals directly with your insurance company, but they work for you. Call to schedule your estimate and repairs today. See the pros, Eric and Scooter Hagen at George's Paint and Body Shop, 1215 J.L. Chestnut Jr. Boulevard, or call 334-872-1441. The all-new George's Paint and Body Shop has reopened in Selma. By George.
August the 26th, 2025. Elect, vote, and re-elect Janie Thomas, City Council Ward 7, putting our community first, taking action and getting results. Paid political by friends to elect Janie Thomas for City Council Ward 7.
1490 WHBB. Good morning on this Wednesday morning, August 20th. And again, our guest this morning is Councilman Clay Carmichael. And I tell you, you have to do a lot of juggling. I was thinking about the mining thing, though. You know, Ford Motor Company and there's another company. All of a sudden, this whole issue about the EV, electrical vehicle batteries, is becoming a real issue. But there are parts in Alabama, I'm trying to remember which county it is, that has the natural elements that go into making electric batteries. And so I would think that you guys got mining experience. What is that? What's the difference between, you know, just being a regular company like if you were just mixing concrete, but going through the procedure of mining? What is that like?
Well, there's all kinds of different mining operations. You know. We're pretty basic and simple. We're excavating with a track home excavator, and just digging straight out of the ground and putting it on trucks. You know, there are so we're sand and gravel. You know, and then you have even more basic stuff where you mine just like clay out of clay.
So you still have to go through a basic procedure, though,
yeah.
Regardless of what the material is, I would think.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, you're pulling it out of the ground somehow.
Right.
Just depends on how big your mine is and what type of equipment you use, and that's based on how much you're able to get rid of. You know, it's a supply and demand thing.
Now,
we're not a big operation.
As a business owner, in management, how would you say that helps you in your position as a council person?
Well, and what we were talking about, just in terms of understanding efficiencies with finances, you know, how to cut costs but improve services at the same time. I mean, that's constantly what we're doing, and that is very broad. You know, I mean, and I'll tell you, I learned that, and I worked in restaurants for about 10 or 12 years. I started when I was 20 years old.
That's a hard business.
And it is. And I worked my way up from dishwasher to manager.
I washed dishes at a restaurant in Virginia, but guess it was a military officers club, and we had the best chef in town.
Yeah.
So I ate good.
That's the best thing about it is the meals. But you learn a lot about efficiencies there and timing and trying to get things out. You also learn about penny pinching, because I mean every little piece of food that drops on the ground is a penny loss.
Right.
And you need every penny in the restaurant business because it's real tight ratios, real tight numbers, and I apply that to everything I do now, to the business I'm in now and to the city.
Now, and that being said, here recently, and I had this conversation with President Young, in fact, and we were talking about first the $5,000 cap that was placed on Mayor Perkins, and then he said publicly that he because the mayor was complaining that was not enough, And so President Young said that he proposed increasing it to 10,000, but that the mayor rejected the offer.
That's correct.
You know,
Yeah, and we didn't place that cap. That cap was in place by the council previously because it was recommended by the state. When they came in and did it was an investigation, not an audit. The certified Department of Certified Public Accounts. I can't. It's a long name.
Right.
But anyway, they did the investigation. They recommended putting several different policies in place. That was one of them because there was spending without council approval. So they said, well, y'all come up with a limit that anything over and above they need to come to the council about.
Because the council is primarily responsible for finances.
That's right. Yeah.
And they will hold you accountable for where the money goes.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you know, we can't help it if fraud. You know, if there's fraud happening, then we can't help that.
Right.
And on a smaller scale, on a day-to-day scale, that's what you're trying to be aware of. That's why we need the financial information so we can make sure nobody's doing things that are wrong with it.
Now, and I had this discussion with President Young also. But by the way, that interview can be seen on the selmapostherald.com website on the homepage. But then here recently, you guys voted to only allow the mayor $1, and I think President Young explained that as because you're coming near to the end of the budget, and you don't want to overspend in any particular category. What are your thoughts on that?
I wish I meant to bring you the audit, last year's audit, and show it to you. I've got pictures of it here, but there were several audit findings from last year's audit that told us that the finances were not being properly accounted for, and between those audit findings, so that's where there was that's the only motion that people are making a big deal about. But there were 10 total motions that the council made that night, and the books aren't being reconciled on a regular basis. They're not being reconciled in a timely manner at the end of the year. It talks about the revenues and the receivables and the payables not being correct because of outdated bills. I can't. There's a bunch of findings, a bunch, and these are the things that we suspected that we'd ask questions about before the audit. So it just ensured what we were asking about was right. So in doing that, President Young and I spoke to Attorney Goldman, and he made those recommendations that we get these things in order. That saves us from liability. If we have policies in place and the policies are broken, then we're not liable. So that's we need to be real clear about that. Also, that $5,000 limit you were talking about, that has not been followed. So we were seeing expenses go out for just under $5,000 month after month. You know, so essentially, there's a contract that's paying more than $5,000 that we haven't seen as a council.
Because we have not seen this contract. Limit.
By law, the council has to approve contracts, period. What the policy did when we allow up to $5,000 is saying the mayor can approve contracts up to $5,000. Well, they're going over. So the $5,000 limit, if somebody's abusing that, well, we need to shrink it down and say, all right, let's see what else is going out. And so that, the dollar came from that. Also, in terms of it being the end of the fiscal year and a new administration taking over, if we're out 120 days on bills in July, we're not going to see that until after an administration gets here. So
now, and I also understand that dollar it was understood that was a temporary condition.
Yeah, I mean, it's temporary until we get our books reconciled. You know, I mean, that's what we discussed is, you know, we need to see these bills are caught up. We need to see our bottom line is matching up. We had taken in at the time, in the June, the June report, we had taken in $600,000 less than we spent. So that means, you know, that's not necessarily that we're going over budget, but our expenses are exceeding our revenues.
Yeah, you don't have any control over that, I wouldn't think.
And so, you know, I mean, there's several reasons for it, but still, that means, hey, let's watch our spending a little bit, guys.
Let me ask you this, because I know how important voters see being organized, and I know how much we appreciate financial budgeting. But let's just say, for instance, you didn't do that, and the spending was out of control, and you just kept spending money, and the money that you had projected to come in wasn't coming, but you spend it anyway. So what does that put us as a city in terms of city government?
Well, that's what we've seen the last couple of years that we've continued to ask about is, and the audit has showed, actually one of the findings was a repeat finding that we tried to correct last year where at the end of the year, the books aren't being reconciled properly. If you have POs or contracts that are out, when you're trying to reconcile those books, they need to be rolled over into the next budget year.
So you're trying to balance the budget.
We're trying to reconcile the budget at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then we'll explain what reconciling the budget means.
So that's accounting for all encumbered funds. I mean, if we voted for a $50,000 contract in April, but it hasn't been expended yet, it is encumbered. We've encumbered that $50,000.
It's still there.
Yeah, we have a contract on it,
yeah,
even though it's not showing on the bottom line,
right,
because it hadn't been spent.
Right.
Well, September 30 rolls around, it's the end of our fiscal year. It's got to be spent, or either it has to roll over into the next budget year. So if you listen to all of our financial committee meetings, all of our council meetings leading up at the end of our fiscal year,
right,
we're constantly asking, what contracts do we have out? What contracts do we have out? What POs do we have out? We need those so we can put them in our budget. Oh, we don't, that's all we got. You got them all in there. They're all in there. And then September comes in the year, October, we get a September report, says it's reconciled. And then in January, they bring us a list of POs saying, oh, we got to pay these.
Oh, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, now y'all have already passed a budget, but we got to take this out of our general fund.
So does that add to possible confusion?
Major confusion. I mean, if we're looking at stuff, our fiscal year started on October 1. We've already got a budget for 90 days, 60 to 90 days. We're approving stuff, looking at a bottom line, thinking we've got this much money in our account, this much money spent, and then all of a sudden, here comes more money out of our account. This has happened 2 years in a row.
Well, so now, I guess also recently, the mayor called a meeting or asked the city council to attend a meeting after the dollar vote took place, and then I think it was canceled later. I spoke with President Young about this as well, and what he said was that as city council president, he knows the habits of all the council people, and that, you know, he's only had one meeting when there was not a quorum in the 5 years that he's been city council president, and that's one of the reasons why the council president is charged with being able to call meetings. And
that's his duty.
That's his duty. So he felt like if you call a meeting without his, you know, although he did sign off on it, he approved it, but if you call a meeting of the whole council, you may or may not get participation, not because of agreeing or disagreeing with the agenda, but possibly simply because of something as simple as your schedule.
So there are several issues with that meeting, and I won't
get into all of it, right?
But the meeting was called, posted, so to speak, at 7:30 on a Friday. You cannot post notice of a meeting at 7:30 on a Friday. It has to be at City Hall on the bulletin. The law is very clear about that. You have to put a notice, the agenda, on the bulletin at City Hall. If City Hall's closed, you cannot do that. Two, the mayor can't just call the meeting. There's a process for it. You have to write a request to the presiding officer requesting a meeting. The presiding officer has to fail, refuse, or deny the meeting. He has to say, I can't do it. And then at that point, the mayor or two city council people can call the meeting. None of that happened. So, I mean, you know, if none of that's happening, then we're not following the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act is a law that we have to follow. We're very clear on that. We've actually wanted to call meetings on Mondays before, and our attorney Goldman in Birmingham said, get it to City Hall, get that agenda to City Hall before the close of business.
Before the close of business.
Because that's when it's public. That's
Right.
when it's public. I mean, people aren't going to City Hall on Saturday because it's closed.
Right.
It's not public. So
That's
the idea is to make it open to as many people as possible. You know, if you're trying to call meetings like that, that's not being very transparent. That's not being open.
We're not taking calls yet. We'll try and take some before the councilman leaves. Want to give him an opportunity. That's one of the reasons.
We can take some calls. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm not
Yeah,
stuck on
I got
anything.
you.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, let's take this. When you said that, they stopped calling.
Oh yeah.
Let me take this break. When we come back, we'll take some calls. Don't hang up calling now. You know, when we'll come back and you're gonna hear it go beep 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 beep. That makes me wonder about this thing. We'll be back with more right after this.
I got tired of calling the radio.
Now they call me. Harass. They want to harass. That's they like to intimidate.
I'm used to that. Unfortunately.
And unfortunately, I'm used to it too.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have thick skin in this business, huh?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll be right back. Do you need anything?
No. You got a water? You got a bottle of water out there?
Let me see.
If not, no worries. I just
have to look and see. Hold on.
Okay.
We always got something over there, so come by and check it out. If you're just looking for a pre-owned automobile, we got cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, all on the service, all on the oil change, tire rotation, all service and ready to go. And we can do the financing for you too, George.
That's right. The financing is not a problem, no matter if you've got a number one credit or credit that's been through the ringer. We got some special people that can help you out and get you rebuilt again.
That's right. We got the Credit Acceptance Corporation, and they guarantee financing approval. So when everybody else says no, the reliable team says yes, we can.
And of course, with not only the great selection of pre-owned automobiles and the wholesale to the public you just mentioned, we also keep a complete line of brand spanking new Chevrolet and GMC vehicles as well.
That's right, George. You can check us out on your website at reliablegmc.com or come see us at 14th Lawrence Street, right across from the post office. So give us a call, 876-23.
How about that?
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I started early this morning, Jim.
I'll bet you have.
Muggy.
Gosh.
This treatment.
Oh man, that's why you start so early, huh? During the summer, you start 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we try to beat the heat. It's hard to beat it.
Can you get anything done in the dark like that?
Oh yeah, everybody just turns the lights on.
Oh, okay.
Big lights.
You use I saw somebody doing something once. I said, well, that makes sense. You can still work at night when they do the highway. They bring up them huge floodlights.
Yep.
You know.
That's right.
I thank the good Lord every day that my physician refers me to AVS, Alabama Vascular Specialist, for Dr. Ralph Red, Dr. Irwin Wright-Giddens, and Dr. Richard Tan. Lead a team of professionals that truly care about their patients and get to the root of their patients' vascular problems. Then provide the care needed to get them on the road to recovery. If it weren't for AVS, I don't know if I would be here talking to you today. 334-801-9952. Check them online at alabamavascularspecialist.com.
Citizens of Selma, for 24 years, I've proudly served you as a public servant with dedication, hard work, and commitment. Through the storms of Hurricane Zeta, the hardships of COVID, and even the devastation of the 2023 tornado, I was there, passing out food, toiletries, offering comfort, hope, and prayer, because I truly care about our people. From my years with the city of Selma as a clerk at Public Works, to serving as secretary to all 9 city council members for a decade, to my work with the district attorney's office, where I served as head office manager for over 4 years over the entire circuit of Bibb, Dallas, Hale, Perry, and Wilcox counties as the office manager, restitution officer, and victim service officer in Dallas County for over 6 years. I've walked with you through every challenge, and I will not walk away when times get tough. Selma deserves a vision, a new direction, with less talk and more action. On Election Day, Tuesday, August the 26th, vote Tamika Sykes for mayor, a leader who will continue to stand with you and for you.
Take for committee to elect Tamika Sykes mayor.
1490 WHBB Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Randy, he says that bills come up unannounced by the end of the year. So how do they rectify the problem?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, the question was, when bills come up at the end of the year, how do we rectify the problem? So you pay them out of your general fund account. You know, we have an account balance, this money in the bank, which is what's floating our budget, our annual budget, and you pay them directly out of the general fund by a vote of the council.
Okay. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
I need to ask a question, but I'll ask this one. Did the council read what is presented and understand what is been given to them? Or do they let someone else do that and interpret it in the way people might think
You want to repeat the question, please?
present to them, read, or do they understand it? Or do they let someone else and tell it like they want to hear it?
Okay, I think I understand. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think what she's saying is, does the council, do they know that after at the end of the fiscal year, when those bills come back up to be paid that hadn't been paid, does the council, do they understand that before the end of the budget, and why didn't they pay it?
No, we don't know about those bills, and that's what's scaring us a little bit, is how many bills do we actually have out there that are outstanding, and how many contracts have we voted on that are not being encumbered in our financial statements. And we've asked for that. We've asked for, all right, we need some encumbered statements. We need to know what's coming out of our bond fund. We need to know what's coming out of our general fund. We need to know what's coming out of our oil lease. All these accounts that we have, there's a line item in your budget performance report for encumbered monies, which means it has not come out, but it's been approved to come out. And those are lining up just zeros all the way down, even though we're voting on stuff.
Why don't you know? Why aren't you getting the information?
Who
provides that information to you?
So the finance office provides that information to us, and the finance department does the end of year reconciliations, anything that's been encumbered, is accounted for there. These are some of the things that were in the motions that we made to make sure that we've put in place something that says we need to do this. It's supposed to be encumbered, or it's supposed to be reconciled monthly, and that way at the end of the year you don't have so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you reconcile monthly, and not everything gets reconciled, but at least you're reconciling some of it so that at the end of the year you don't have a whole year to reconcile.
Mm-hmm.
So and in each of those payment reports, we get a payment report with a check register, basically what's going out, it has a line item at the bottom, a
Showing
row
the running,
that
a
says
running balance.
what's encumbered, how many items have been encumbered, and for what total has been
Right.
encumbered.
And what's
All
left.
that's zero all year
Right.
round. It's never encumbered at the end of the month.
Hmm.
And so, Miss Janice is doing a great job in there as best she can. She's
Well,
overwhelmed.
has it been complicated by the fact that you had a treasurer that retired? Did that complicate anything?
It's been going on since before then. I mean, we've been asking for these things for a couple of years. Like I said, this is a repeat finding on the reconciliations. So I mean, we have tried to, and this is what we figured out. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, right before the tornado, we were going, our accounts are off. They're off by over $1 million. What is going on here? And we found out that a lot of these bills are being paid after we've already reconciled our budget. So we started bringing that to light. Hey, we can't do this. We can't vote on a budget and then a bunch of bills come in later and y'all just pay them without our approval just because we voted on them last fiscal year. We have to know what we're accounting for in this budget. We got to know what's going on.
You have to handle business.
Yeah.
Viewpoint, you're on the air, caller.
Good morning. I'm kind of confused here. You said the mayor don't only have $5,000 that he can spend on the contract and everything else at a time, and the city council is over the finances. And you said I think you said 60,000, 600,000. That you don't know about this or that and all other. Let me ask you: is this money coming out of a state fund that's coming into the state that the mayor can spend or something like that? Because if you're over the finances at the city council, how can all this be going on that you're missing anything?
No, we're not missing it. We know it's going on. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. It's going on. We're seeing it in our reports. We're asking how it's going on.
I think the question then may be, who's cutting the checks? So the city council is not cutting the checks.
Right.
So
No, we don't touch
who's
them.
cutting the checks and signing off on it?
Yeah, the treasurer cuts the checks.
The treasurer cuts the checks.
And the mayor directs her to cut the checks. I mean, that's a day-to-day operation. And that's what we've had issues with. If the treasurer is being directed to do something against what should be done, she's bonded and should be educated enough to stand up to that. But under the last treasurer, that was not happening.
Will they lose their job though if their immediate supervisor, which would be the mayor, directs them to do something and they say, "Well, I'm not going to do it."
Ask Renita Wade when she's on your show. Ask her how that goes.
I don't mean to laugh, but yeah. I just had Renita. Her interview, by the way, is on the selmapostherald.com website, and she basically, that answers that. Yeah. So that's the way that goes down, huh?
Yeah.
Viewpoint, you're on the air. Stating that sometimes bills come up late, and they're notifying them. How are they changing that? What are they doing to change that issue?
So we voted on a list of motions, and anybody, I've posted it on my Facebook page. If anybody's on social media, you can go to my Facebook page. It has the motions. It also has the audit report that showed why we made these motions. I think former Councilwoman Angela Benjamin has also posted the same information on her Facebook page. And not only that, you can go to the clerk's office and they should be able to provide you with the 10 motions that were made. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but all 10 of those motions should have taken care of any of the audit findings. So we got our audit report in May, I think, and we put these motions in place in July after a couple of financial committee meetings and a little bit of discussion over it. And again, that was advised. All those motions were legal advice from from an attorney that we have on contract.
Okay, let's take this last break. We may go over a few minutes this morning, but we're going to take this last commercial break, and we'll be back. And caller, hold on. We've got several people calling, asking questions, and so I'm going to try to accommodate them. Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah, we'll be back with more right after this.
Hey there, this is Carlos Starwood. I consider myself a son of Selma because I was born here, raised here, educated here, and every step of my journey has led me back here to serve the place I love, which is why I'm running for Selma City Council Ward 3. I'm running because I believe our neighborhoods deserve more honesty, more action, and more results. Election day is August the 26th, and I will be honored to have your support and your votes. People, progress, color. Let's put Ward 3 first. Paid for by different meetings will let Carlos Starwood 30 P.M. on 1612 Selma, Alabama 36702. Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish mustard and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like. Yeah, we got them at Meadows Tire and Automotive. A huge selection of tires in all styles and sizes from top name brands like Hercules, Honda, Michelin, Goodyear, and others. Plus, for your auto repair shop too, specializing in brakes, oil changes, alignments, suspensions, and more. We got them. Good deals. Our deals you won't believe them. Meadows Tire and Automotive, 2897 Citizens Parkway in Selma. Call or text us at 334-875-7276. Is your business protected against cyber attacks, viruses, malware, or ransomware? How much would it cost for your business to be shut down for a couple of days if one of these attacks were to happen and you lost all of your customer and billing data? One of the worst cyber attacks right now is ransomware, which literally holds all of your files for a large ransom. And these attackers are wanting big money to unlock your files, from $5,000 to $10,000 and much more. These ransoms also have to be paid by Bitcoin, which is cryptocurrency, a very difficult task in and of itself. If you're not prepared, you could be looking at several days of lost time and wages, along with the frustration for yourself, your employees, and your customers. With the right plan in place, the risk of your business experiencing such an attack can be greatly minimized by protecting your network, computers, and servers, along with a comprehensive backup plan. Computer and Data Network Services has the tools and the experience to custom tailor a solution that best fits your needs. Call us today for an appointment to discuss what we can do for you. Call us at 334-874-8324. That's 334-874-8324.
14 on DWHBB Viewpoint, you're on the air.
I also want to know who has got the figures that we are currently, well, they have gotten trained out pretty much this year. And I know they were at a long time ago. Who got them in order? And can you tell me who we trained the books out? To get them done so they can do the jobs that need to be done. Also, I didn't hear a whole lot about what this council person is going to do to make sure that the city runs smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Okay, so
That's the last call.
I think the question was who straightened the books out, and the books are not straight right now. That's an issue. That's what we're saying. Our bottom line is not what it appears to be. When we have a bottom line, we're looking at what we've received versus what we've expended, or what we plan to receive versus what we plan to spend. And it's not actuals if we still have encumbered monies out. If we have contracts that we've agreed to, or if there are other bills of any kind that have been promised, then that should be encumbered. And then that would give us another column so we know, hey, we're already at our limit here. We can't be frivolous with any of this stuff right here. We can't afford to buy a new vehicle right here at the end of the year. We need to put it in next year's budget because we know we haven't paid for these vehicles yet. So
You're not getting that information.
We're not getting that
So you
information
can't
in our
make an
financial
informed,
report.
you
So
can't
we're
make a
not-
decision.
That's right.
Hmm.
And we're hoping by these motions that we made and this dollar limit that we get some of these things cleared up. I mean, I don't know if anybody has ever, changed your checking account, for instance. You want to wait till all your checks run through. You don't do this as much anymore because a lot of things are digital. They come straight out. But back 20 years ago, you had to wait till all your checks cleared you had to write it all down.
Or the
You
bank
wrote a
would,
check.
or the bank would have an exorbitant
That's
amount
right.
of check fees. You know, they got
That's
sued
right.
for that because they turned that into a profit center.
Yeah. So we don't want to do that. We want to have all of our checks clearing out before the end of the year because we're changing budgets. And so everything from that fiscal year needs to be paid out, or either we need to roll it over into the next fiscal year budget. And so these are just basic accounting principles.
So the second part of our question was, what are you going to do? What can you do to help improve that situation?
Well, everything that I've done. I mean, I have been a staunch proponent for financial stability in terms of getting our S&P rating back, in terms of making sure we got money in the account, in terms of making sure we got some disaster money in case we have another issue, disaster, spending wisely, making sure that we have a surplus at the end of the year. All these things I have continued to try to get done.
To advocate.
I've asked the questions when something's off in those books. I'm up there asking the questions. I'm not just gonna trust that everyth's going okay when the numbers aren't adding up.
Yeah, but people get aggravated with folks when they ask questions. You're not supposed to ask questions, are you?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to be a yes man when it comes. I'm just, that's not who I am. I'm not just going to agree with whatever the mayor does, and no matter what mayor it is. And I'll tell you, in terms of this mayor, I didn't know Mayor Perkins when I came in office. I may have met him once before, did not know him. I came in, people had told me, hey, watch out for Mayor Perkins, this, that, and the other, saying things about his past administration. I told every one of them, he hasn't done anything to me. I'm not going to hold that against him. I'm coming at this thing clean slate. And that's the way I approached it from the get-go.
And just for the record, because we've had this and I've had this conversation with a couple of other council people, and I think President Young, I had said, 90% of what was proposed to the council was approved by the council, by the mayor, was approved by the council. He said it's higher than that. It is. It's real high.
The last meeting, we approved like 25 items or something. I mean, the mayor's report was a couple hundred pages, I think, and it everything was approved on it. Everything that the mayor asked for was approved at last meeting. So, and that's not the first time it's happened. Everything on the attorney's report was approved. So, I mean, the meeting went fast.
Well, some of these issues that we're going through, I'm seeing are happening in Birmingham. And in Birmingham, they're dealing with the appointment powers issue. With the council and the mayor, they're having that debate. And then I see other places that are having some of the same kind of issues, would maybe reflect on the League of Municipalities saying that if you follow the law and the way we have things laid out, you can solve most of these problems.
Yeah.
Now we're over time, but that's okay.
But one more thing, Randy.
No, we don't want you to take your time.
I have personally put all this information out on social media for people to see for themselves. I'm not telling people how to think. I'm providing the documents myself. I mean, the same financial report I'm looking at, I want everybody to be able to see. And that's what transparency is. I mean, if we vote on it, it belongs to the people of Selma. I mean, that is who owns this city, is the citizens of Selma. They deserve to know the finances. They deserve to see the minutes. any ordinances, resolutions, all that stuff that we have, and I'll share it with anybody.
Well, now we do have to pay for that, don't we?
Yeah, well, digitally, you don't have to pay. The only thing you're paying for is for paper and ink. So, I mean, digitally,
You eliminate the ink in the paper.
yeah, you eliminate the ink in the paper.
So on your Facebook page won't cost me anything?
You're right.
What?
That doesn't cost you a dime, Randy. And also, I say that I didn't know Mayor Perkins. We've had some differences, but I'll say this: there's 5 people that are running against him in this election. All 5 of them I knew before I was a council person.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
And any of them I can call right now, they'll answer their phone, and I would do the same for them. And we've actually had conversations in the past. And I thought about that earlier because Tamika Sykes' commercial was on, and I used to work with the council from a citizen standpoint regularly. So I talked to her, got to know her regularly during that time. Helped Angela Benjamin with Jazz on the Grass. Just a lot of things that I did before I was a council member where I got to know people in government, and Skip Moss, Aaron Roper, Michael Jackson, Renita Wade, Tamika Sykes, all of them have my number. I have their number. I could work with any of them. And I think that's important for people to understand. I have a working relationship already. Yeah.
Okay, in closing, this is your opportunity to say whatever you want to say to our audience as we close this morning's program.
Well, I have been a really hard-working council person over the last 4.5 years. I take pride in that. I have stayed on top of the finances. I've stayed true to what I've said I was going to do for public safety and trying to improve public safety, trying to improve public works. I've ended up having to do more in terms of what's legal for the council and for the city, in terms of even going to the distance of negotiating contracts, working on the pay plans, the Goodwill Mills and Kaywood drainage plan that we're trying to put together, working with BMSS on financial policies and procedures, which we're still working on. I think I've drafted over 50 resolutions and ordinances myself that have gone before the council. I recently did a long-term longevity pay increase that we put in place, which is instead of Christmas bonuses, you have to do a one-time pay increase. We wanted to put that in the budget every year and have a standard for it, just like the state does. So, I put that together. I've worked on negotiating contracts for the sale of buildings, for the camera systems for the police department, for the fiber internet that everybody's getting. I was part of these negotiations. I've done the work here. I've been present. I've been out doing some of the work myself in terms of cleaning storm gutters out, cleaning drains and streets, putting cold patch in potholes that weren't getting fixed. We've cleared all the alleys in Ward 3. I say that. Somebody pointed out that one was not cleared the other day, and I never got that request. But if there was an alley that was requested to get cleared, we cleared the alleys out. We've cleaned the curbs and gutters. We've shoveled out drains. I went through and mapped out every single pothole in Ward 3 and started working on it from Riverview to Ice House to Mallory to Mill Village, and did Old Town last because that's my neighborhood. I say I did it last, and I'm still not done there. But I did every pothole in every other neighborhood.
That's about 10 years work right there.
What I focused on was not just patching the pothole. I asked the contractor, I wanted a price on cutting it out, squaring it up, and doing real asphalt in it, so that it doesn't just pop right back out, keep filling it back back in.
So it would amount to resurfacing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, that's something from my experience with construction. I know that you can't just continually fill a pothole with dirt in it and stuff. You actually have to cut it square, clean it out, pave it over the right way, make it even with the rest of the road, and then it lasts for 5 or 6 years longer.
Mm.
Instead of filling it year after year after year. So these are things that I've done in the 4.5 years, and that's with not having a good relationship with the mayor. I mean, and I'll admit that we do not have a good relationship. Communications are bad, organization's bad, and I'm looking forward to hopefully working with another administration. I mean, what we've got here is we've got a group that's running with the mayor. He said it the other night in the forum, so it's not a secret. He has a group of people that are running for council. Period. They had a forum the other night during a council meeting of the 4 wards, 1, 2, 3, and 7. That were at a council meeting, the wards that typically question the mayor. It's no secret. I mean, if you want the same in that administration, vote for those people that are running on that ticket. It's basically a ticket line. If that's what you want, vote for those people. If not, if you want some change, vote for the people that question these things, and get a new mayor in there, and let's see how we can make this city work. Well,
Councilman Carmichael, thank you so much for coming in. Sorry about that, Councilman Carmichael. Thank you for coming in. And this interview will also be uploaded to the selmapostherald.com website, where you can, in your leisure, listen to some of these detailed answers that Councilman Clay Carmichael has given us. Happy birthday to your wife.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Amy.
And thank you for listening. Oh, now tomorrow, the Viewpoint Collins Cutaway III will be our guest. And so we went over this morning. We had a lot of calls, and that took us over a little bit. But this is a critical election, and we're going to do our best to allow citizen participation. And if you didn't get questions to me before these interviews, then we'll try and open it up so that you can still call them and ask questions.
And Randy, I want to add, if you have any questions, my number is 334-410-0582. That's my personal number. I've been giving it out for years. You can call me, text me anytime. You can find me on Facebook, Clay Carmichael. My regular page is public. You can find me there. You can message me. You can find any of the stuff I'm talking about that I've put on there. And I'm very open about all this. So I appreciate you giving me the extra time today.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully those people will continue to ask those questions, because that's important.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and they'll have an opportunity to ask Mayor Perkins questions on Friday. He will be on the final hour of Viewpoint starting 9-ish on this Friday. Mayor James Perkins Jr. We'll say have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow morning, the good Lord willing. Stay tuned for Chris Plant. He's tried to break in on my show a couple of times. All right, Chris. Now we're going to join Chris Plant, already in progress.
Couldn't answer 10 questions on a test.
All right.
All right. Let me.
So he answered 2, but he couldn't answer